Good evening and welcome everyone to the Wednesday night midweek oasis here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Paul Prasuti and I'll be your host tonight. I welcome you, all of you, and as you'll be able to experience tonight, our Wednesday night oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing in a satsang style, expressing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and interactive. Our annual theme for 2023 is Living Out Loud. Our monthly theme for August is My Passion, My Purpose. Last Sunday, Reverend Sunshine introduced ideas inspired by the talk title of Awakening Your Passion. And tonight, our speaker will continue the exploration of this same topic. So as we gather tonight, I really want to welcome you. That's so important to me. When Reverend Sunshine started with us, she gave us an idea, a concept to come to the center well. And to do so, she shared these 6 C's for us to consider and incorporate. Come with a heart of love and tenderness. She calls that compassion. Come ready to exchange openly. Communication. Come in friendship and family. We call that camaraderie. Come in harmony and ready to share. That's known as communion. Come in partnership and cooperation. That's collaboration. And finally, come in spiritual awareness and truth. Reverend Sunshine calls that consciousness. So as we move into the program tonight, these 6 C's are the premise of sharing a wonderful evening with you tonight. If you are new to our community, watching us on YouTube or with us tonight, please visit our homepage at oaklandcsl.org and click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving the Village News newsletter once a week in your email inbox. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. But before we get started with the talk, please mute your own audio microphone during tonight's service. When you mute your audio microphone, it will improve the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission. And please stay tuned through the end of our service and you'll receive special and important announcements. Now, before I get started with the regular introduction of our speaker tonight, I have to dredge up last month's theme of speaking truth to circumstances. And I have to do a little bit of that tonight. Our speaker scheduled for tonight had to switch to another date. So our advertised speaker, the wonderful and beloved practitioner, Jessica Chris, will be here on Wednesday, August 30th instead of tonight. And we look forward to her being with us then. Our speaker tonight accepted the invitation on very short notice, but she is no stranger to our Wednesday night services, both as a speaker and a regular attendee. When she accepted, she shared this sage statement: when Spirit speaks, I answer. And many times we may have to pivot to experience a different outcome. So pivoting to be with us tonight, all the way from Savannah, Georgia, we have Reverend Deb Hammond. Let me tell you a little bit about Reverend Deb. She's an ordained interfaith minister by way of One Spirit Seminary and has been a licensed practitioner in Centers for Spiritual Living since 2009, starting here in the Oakland Bay area. She has a passion for supporting others in the transformation of expressing their authentic selves using various spiritual practices, meditation, affirmative prayer, and visioning, among many other ways. It is her passion in supporting others in rediscovering their truth and recognizing their true expressions of the one, whole, perfect, and amazing, exactly as they are. She is a wisdom seeker, a person who answers the call to live in a life that continues to awaken her to an inner knowingness and lifts her to a higher level of consciousness. Her recently discovered spiritual catchphrase is, "Let's go." So, with that in mind, let's go, Reverend Deb. Are you ready, my friend?
Okay, there I am.
Yeah, let's go. So, as we do with every organized event at the center, first of all, we welcome you, and we're so glad that you're here with us tonight. And in this capacity, I'm excited. So, we normally open with prayer, Reverend Deb. Will you be doing the honors tonight?
Didn't we pass this off or
Nope, you're going to do
no?
the.
I'm it. I'm on, huh? Okay.
Yes, you are. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. Huh. So in this right now moment, just take a deep breath in and just let that breath go. And just recognize and know that God is, I am, and all is truly well. And how good it is to be here in this place with this wonderful community of Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And just recognizing that each and every person that is here, everyone that made this night possible, it's already blessed. It's already done in the mind of God. We just showed up to do what it is that we're called here to do. Be it short notice, long notice, it doesn't matter because all we have is the right now moment. So I'm just grateful for each and every person that's a part of the AV team, everyone that had anything to do with putting this service together tonight, this gathering together tonight, and to give thanks to Reverend Sunshine Michelle for the opportunity to just be in this space and to have this platform available so that it can be reached around the world. So I'm just grateful for this and so much more, and just being open to the experience of God showing up as me, as each one of us right here, right now. And I just know that this is an exciting moment. I feel it all within me. And so I'm grateful. I let go. I let God. And I let go to let go. And so it is. Amen. So I just have to take a deep breath on that. So it is so wonderful to be here with you all. And what feels like short notice, it just seems like so much stuff is kind of happening right now. And even when Reverend Sunshine Michelle offered or called me and asked me if I would speak, which initially was at the end of the month, I said, well, sure. So I knew I had some time. So I have a couple of speaking engagements on this Sunday and the Sunday after, and then something else on the Sunday after that. So it would all culminate to the end of the month. Well, then I guess Spirit had a different idea, and you had to pivot. So it's like, what do you do? Okay. And so when I told Reverend Sunshine Michelle, it's like, you know what? When Spirit speaks, I say yes, because I never know what that looks like. And I think back so many times of how I've stepped into this place of thinking about, we were talking about what's passion, what's your passion, and what's your purpose. And I realized that many years ago, Spirit has equipped me with a number of what I call passion tools that I've used throughout my life growing up, even to now. So I think back to Sunday. So if you all were there in the center or watched it on YouTube or on Facebook, I listened to it because I didn't see it on YouTube. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? It's not here. And so, she sent me, Reverend Sunshine Michelle sent me the Facebook, and I listened to it because it felt like my soul needed to listen or to hear this in this moment. And I didn't know why. And so as I was listening, I started thinking, it's like, oh, she has a whole lot of juicy nuggets in this one. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I had to play this one back several times and to listen. But again, I'm still in this place of I'm not speaking until the end of the month. And so when it shifted, I'm like, oh, okay, Spirit. I see we're doing something a little different right now. So I could have said no. And I realized that was not, for me, that was not the answer. The answer was to say yes. Because what this opportunity is for me is an opportunity to truly continue to step into my purpose. And as Reverend Sunshine was delivering her message, her talk, all I kept thinking was, would you get out of my head, please? Get out of my head. Because I've had these conversations or I've had these thoughts. And I'm thinking, it's like, she's all the way in California and I'm here. And I'm like, get out of my head. But what it helped me to realize and remind me of is that there truly is only one. There's only one of us here. So as she was speaking that, it applied to, and I know I'm not the only one. It's like I can't imagine how many people raised their hand when she asked if people knew their passion and their purpose. And I thought about that, but I thought also about how the tools, the passion tools that Spirit has equipped me with. And it's a number of things that I've utilized as far as videography, photography, sound engineer, hypnotherapy, being a minister, a practitioner, a military officer, supervisor, and not knowing how those pieces come into play. I was having a conversation with a minister friend of mine as she was driving to Asilomar last night. And what came to me in regards to thinking about what my purpose is, and it actually came up as I was preparing for my Sunday talk. What Spirit gave me was that my purpose is being of service and utilizing my passion tools support that in many different ways. I think back on when, with my videography of when the short film that I did, that I shared with you all, that was a part of my passion that created part that served my purpose in that moment of being of service. And there are so many other things. When I'm in the grocery store sometimes, and there are strangers that will come up and just have random conversation. I'm the only one kind of sometimes in that aisle. And they'll stop, they'll look for something, and then they'll stop and have a conversation. And we're standing there. And there was one lady, we were talking, and it was right before my birthday last year. And I was saying, yes, I'm going away to North Carolina to go celebrate my birthday. And she just happened to, and I was talking to another coworker, and I said, my birthday is Saturday. And the customer turned around and she said, my birthday is Saturday also. And I'm thinking, wow, how random is that? But it's God. God shows up in so many different aspects of, especially when we're in this place that we're wanting to live our life, we're wanting to live our purpose. And sometimes we may not always know how to do that. Reverend Sunshine Michelle had talked about how we play small. Well, okay, let me just come to me, how I play small sometimes, although she wasn't talking directly to me, but she was. But it's this thing of how does the things that I do, how do I group them together or utilize them in a way that truly monetizes, that serves me in a monetary way as well, that supports me. And since I've been here in Savannah, I know people here, but the spiritual community that I've been used to is not the same. Like coming out of Oakland, I lived in California for a number of years. So I have those tribes in those areas. And I don't have that here. And it was interesting because I remember having this conversation with Spirit and asking, all right, Spirit, you had me many miles away. I packed up everything, left California to come here. And I don't have that same community. What is that about? And what was revealed to me, it was about getting to my roots, connecting with my roots. And I'm like, my roots? It's like, okay, I have family members that's here about 2.5 hours away. I've never met them. But it was more of connecting with my spiritual roots. Because what happens for me is that sometimes when there's the busyness going on, when Spirit is calling to do or to step into, for me to step into my passion, to step into my calling, there's the busy chatter that starts happening, or the things that take my attention away from listening to Spirit. So it's easy to say, oh, my reps, they need me to have to go over here. So I'm going to skip meditation for right now because my phone's ringing at 6 o'clock in the morning or something. So it takes me out of that. And I realize that it is a place that I've created to say, it's like to create that distraction. And I'm thinking, if I created that distraction, I can uncreate that distraction. But then I started thinking, with the tools that I have, the passion tools that I have, how is it that I really can step into what Spirit is calling me to do? And I started thinking, well, I don't want to do film all the time. I don't want to do sound engineer all the time. I don't want to do all of these things or one of these things all the time. And it helped me to realize that there are so many different aspects of who we are, that we think that that purpose or that passion is just one thing, and that's what we have to focus on. And it's not. God is us, we're so multi-talented. And we have so many passion tools to use that we can pick and say, you know what, this week I want to focus on this, or this week I want to write a script and let's see how this works. And I actually started writing a script once before. And it was one of those things that came to me in the shower. I don't know how many of you have gotten those shower moments, but it's like, when that passion, purpose calls or whatever, it's like, oh, you're going to give this to me while I'm in the shower. So I had to hurry up and get out of the shower, run and grab my phone so I could just start recording what the script was and just start get it out of my head. And so then I started writing the script out. And then the distraction came because the title, I'd given it a title and everything. And I was listening to the radio and I heard that there was another actor, I think it was some other actor, I can't remember his name right now. He had written a script with that same title. And as soon as I heard that, I stopped. And I put it to the side. And I was like, well, if he's well known, so Shamar Moore, that's who it was. And so I'm like, well, he's well known, so he's going to get his script out. And it's like, and if I put mine out, people may think that it's a copy. But they were two different concepts. But somewhere in my consciousness, I started playing small and I hid. And so it became this opportunity. Yeah, let me put this aside. Reverend Sunshine Michelle had mentioned in her talk on Sunday that just because the calling that shows up, and I'm paraphrasing right now, the calling that shows up, although we may ignore it, doesn't mean that it goes away. And this is so true because I keep thinking, it's like, yeah, I put that to the side, or anything else that's coming up. And all of a sudden I'm driving and I'm thinking, what did I do with that script? Can I go find that script? I know it's on my hard drive somewhere. And I went looking for it and looking for it. Then I was like, well, maybe I can recreate it. And then I got busy again. And so I realized I create my blockages because until I decide that I want to focus on this is what I'm doing, turn off everything and do that to get it out of my system. But if I'm creating a blockage, it's going to keep eluding me in a way or keep packing it down and packing it down until all of a sudden it's like I don't think about it. And all of a sudden, 5 years later, it shows up. You remember that script that you were working on? You remember that project that you had? And that's for all of us. And I know that sometimes we think about how there is something that we really want to do. And we think somebody in our family, one of our friends may come and say, what do you know about that? You know nothing about how to drive a bus or how to drive a race car or any of that stuff. Why would you want to do something like that? That's stupid. That's dangerous. And then all of a sudden you start thinking, oh, yeah, what was I thinking about that? And we stop. It's like, how many times do we allow ourselves to listen to the others and not listen to that inner? When we listen to that outer, the outer is that, for me, the distractions. And it takes me out of that place of truly stepping into my purpose even deeper. Even when I'm at where I work. Now, I've told some of my friends, I've been trying to get away from this job for the past 7 years, and it still hasn't happened. And what I realized is that this opportunity has allowed me, actually started with this company here in Georgia, and it allowed me to move to Texas. So I transferred with it to Dallas and to Houston and then back here. And now is kind of when I truly feel like this may be the time for me to truly focus on what brings me joy and what makes me happy. But I also had to acknowledge and give thanks for this opportunity with this company, because the people still allow me to be in service of when I'm speaking to my reps and they're going through situations and I have an opportunity to kind of counsel them in a way. And it's funny because none of them know that I'm a minister. I have not shared that with any of them because I realize with some, if I tell them that, their behavior will change. And I'm like, yeah, no, only a few. But it's interesting because they still come to me and with their situations. And I realize it's like, and I listen and I offer them, you know, advice or give them some information that they can use. And it's like, and we just go on. So I realized this company where I am and what I'm doing, it truly is a part of me being of service and me being in this place of my passion. And so in that place, when do I get out of my head? And it's like, when do we all get out of our head? Because there are certain things I'm quite sure with a lot of you that when that call comes for you, when Spirit says, do this, how many of you will go and say, yeah, no, Spirit, not today. I'll come back and we might try this again. And I think 4 years ago, when I was in Dallas, when I went to visit a friend of mine in Austin. And when I started, I was heading there. Whenever I travel, I kind of look to see where some of the CSL, the Unity churches are and stuff, and to go and hang out. So I went through the Science of Mind magazine, and there was a couple of churches in Austin. But then what drew my attention was that there was one of my friends that was at this one particular center. She's a practitioner that was at this particular center. And I was like, oh, that's where I think I'm going to go there. So that was Saturday. So I woke up Sunday morning and said, yeah, Spirit, I'm not feeling like going to church today. I'm going to stay home. And Spirit just kept saying, no, you need to go. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And little did I know that when I arrived there, that I was talking to my friend, we were sitting at a table, and one of the other ministers, she didn't know me from Adam and Eve. That was the first time that she had met me. And she came up to the table and I introduced myself. And the first thing she said was, we have an opening for a speaker on September 23rd. Are you available to speak? In my mind, I'm thinking, why is she asking me this? And I'm thinking, part of me is like, well, let me check my calendar. And all I kept saying was, let me let that distraction go. And I said, yes. My saying yes in that time, 4 years ago, is one of the centers that I speak at on a quarterly basis. Had I have not gone to the center on that day and stayed in my stubborn space, I don't know if I would still even be doing, having this conversation. Even becoming a minister was not necessarily in my physical radar. So I had a minister friend of mine back in 2014, and I was at her center in New Mexico. And we were talking, and so she said, Deb, when are you going to ministerial school? And I kind of turned around and looked like, who is she talking to? It's like, you're not talking to me. And she just started laughing. I was like, okay. Fast forward to 2016, I decided to go to ministerial school. So I called her and I said, guess what? And she just started laughing. I'm like, you don't even know what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I put in my application to go to ministerial school. I said, would you be one of the people that would write a letter reference for me? And she started laughing again. She said, definitely. And that started that journey for me. But it's like, I'm still open every day. So it's this thing of, how are you all open to the opportunity of being in your passion, being in that spirit is calling you? There's a song that's called by a group called Shenakiah Glory, and it's called Yes. And it has this thing and say, will my heart and soul say yes? Because I realized that with this purpose, for me, it's like a soul calling. What is it that my soul is calling me to do? What is your soul calling you to step into? Never mind the distractions that are on the outside. What is it that your soul is calling you to do? So I'm going to open this up because Reverend Sunshine Michelle offered you all a question on Sunday. And I'm trying to remember what I did with it. I put it in when she was asking about what is your purpose, is for you to write it down. So let me go to this one, sorry. So what she was saying was, what is it that's really calling you? And are you willing to truly step into that? Are you ready for that? And I know a number of you that I'm seeing here on the screen are new practitioners. But I remember, when I was at East Bay Church, and Reverend Eloise, she had mentioned, she always said, for the people that had not gotten their license, that we're all practitioners. Some of us we just now have a license to practice. But there's always a soul calling. There's that's pushing you, that's not going away. And so I'm going to open this up to ask, it's like, what is it that's calling you in this moment, in this time, that you've not shared with anyone else? And when I do my hypnotherapy, people start thinking about certain things. And the thing that I always tell them, say, what's that first thought? Don't think about anything else. What's the first thought that came to you? So what's the first thought that's coming to you about what it is that your soul is wanting to do right now? So any takers?
So what we'll do is if everybody turn on the cameras, and if you want to share something or respond to the inquiry, I've been putting them into the chat, Reverend Deb, so people can look in the chat and see them. All the things that you want us to consider. You can raise your hand with your hand, or or you might want to use the icon raising hand down at the bottom. Okay. So with that in mind, anybody want to kick off the conversation? Dodie, is that a hand up in the
That's
air?
a hand up.
Okay,
Like
so we have
hand,
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
start with Dodie, and then I see Reverend Ike. I'll move right to Reverend Ike right after that.
Okay.
Reverend Deb, I love your presentation. I want to write a book. I want to write something. And I actually think about it and put it back, just like you said, all the time. So that is, and I don't know if it's a passion, it's an energy flow that I would like to put in paper. So I'm complete.
So have you started?
No.
So we can start tonight. Write out, think of the title, and go from there. Allow Spirit to show you what it is. Let it flow. Let it be a channeled guide.
Okay, can I kind of think about that? Okay, I'm complete.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dodie. Reverend Ikea.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, how are you, Reverend Ikea?
I'm good. I started out at East Bay too. You probably know that, of course.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
And I remember so many things that Reverend E said that just are, I don't know, I just carry them with me. They're like treasures, you know?
Yes.
And I knew back then, although I really thought it was a crazy idea, that I wanted to be a minister. I knew it. I went to the welcoming ceremony for the new practitioners at East Bay. My roommate was one of them, Marilyn Flower.
Yes.
And that changed my life. That whole thing. I knew I was home. I got into the first class I could get into. And what really did it was the practitioner, the free birthday practitioner session. And I didn't even really quite understand what a practitioner was. And I wasn't, since I didn't understand that, I didn't know why I would ever talk to one. But this free birthday session was there, and my birthday came along, and Tish Shelby did it. And I just thought, oh, I want to be able to do that for people. That's beautiful, and yeah, she's no longer with us. She's moved on. She's giving practitioner sessions to the angels if they're having a bad day. Anyway, yeah, and somewhere in there was this thing about I want to be a minister, and I thought it was crazy, but it didn't go away. It would not go away, and so little by little, I took the next step and the next step and the next step. And now I'm actually very busy doing ministerial things, and it blows me away. But that I think I knew that when I was a child, that except it was in the form of the religion that I was raised in. And then I found out that girls couldn't be priests, and that kind of shot that one. But anyway, what a journey. Anyway, It's wonderful to see you.
Good to see you as
I'm
well.
complete. I've babbled on enough, and I hope somebody else will jump in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for sharing.
Someone else have an answer to the question? What is your soul calling you to do? What's your first thought?
Don't be scared. It's okay.
Don't be afraid. to share? Miss Peggy, I see your hand. Jump.
She was hiding. She was hiding back there. I could see it.
Let's go, Reverend Deb.
Let's go.
I am so busted. Oh my gosh. Okay, I am not sure that it's a calling, but my first thought is an old thought, as these things often are. And it is having a traveling art show that teaches how to create images on canvas or paper or whatever that come from within. So I started working on the description of how to get people to reach in to do that. I just started working on that just Sunday, and here it is Wednesday, and talking about this. And you're talking about this. So, I got inspired, and I won't take up too much time, but I got inspired because somebody at Unity in Walnut Creek took my title. And it was called spiritual painting. So I went all the way out to Walnut Creek and went to his class. I paid my money and went to his class. So that was my first step. And I said, why am I doing this? Anyway, I got a chance to talk to him, and I did the class, and from doing the class, he inspired me to do my version of what was inside me. And so I started writing it down, and that's about as far as I've gotten. I can't take it any further at the moment. I'm complete.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Your inner artiste, huh? Showing us how to be our inner artiste.
That's the goal. That is the goal.
Yes.
And
You have to come to Savannah if I'm still here. So it's like, okay.
okay. Okay, you got it.
Peggy is an accomplished artist. I have one of her pieces she gifted me right to my right now. And she came down to my office and she recognized her child, in the moment. And when I got my dog, everything had to go up to the top 3 shelves. Everything from down below is his, that he's allowed to have. Milk bottles, balls, rags. You wouldn't believe it. It's like a child. Everything from, desk height down is his land. Everything up above is mine. So I had to put away a lot of stuff, and I was putting stuff away, and I went, I ain't putting my Peggy Cotton away. I'm leaving that out. She came over after we got the dog, and when she walked into my office, her eyes went to it, and she goes, I recognize that's a piece of me. And I said, yes, indeed. So Peggy, sally forth, my dear. Sally forth. Reverend Ike, I see you waving.
I was waving because I have several paintings that fit her description. And, I wanted to talk to her about art, and I never got a chance. Wait a minute, let me see if I can show you this one. I don't know, let's see. Oh, I don't know if I can, because I'm not quite sure how to do it. Anyway.
Okay.
That's okay, Reverend Ikea. I will make sure that I see later. I promise.
Yes.
I will get together with you for sure.
There's a very big one, and then there's a little one over here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take pictures or send you the pictures, because there's a great big one. It's 48 by 24.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
was, I don't know, it was the goddess. Oh,
Yeah,
and her, the sun is in her, sun is in her right eye, and the moon is in her left eye, and the stars are flowers in her hair. So she's one.
Wow.
And anyway, it's so funny. I said, oh, I have to talk to Peggy about art. Anyway, you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like I feel somebody else that's kind of hiding, doesn't want to say anything just yet, but it's okay. Reverend Ike, it's like, I think back when you were talking about the practitioner, I remember when I was at East Bay and I had gone through all the classes, because I started out at Agape first, and then I moved up to the Bay Area. And I was in class, finishing up the class, and I remember having a conversation with Reverend D. Jacqueline. And I was coming out of the classroom, and I hadn't decided to go to practitioners training. And so I asked her, I said, so what is practitioner training about? And she started laughing at me. I'm like, why are you laughing? And she was like, you have to experience it for yourself. I said, okay, it's like a Matrix moment, huh? So I'm just like, okay. So I went to the, the introduction class for practitioners, and they give you a list of books that we're supposed to have and read for this. I looked at the list, and it was funny because 2 days, maybe a week before that class, I was in half price books, and there was one of the books that kind of like jumped off the shelf at me. And I think it was Dark Night of the Soul. And so I went to the class, and I'm looking at this list of books, and I'm sitting there and I started laughing. I said, Spirit, you're funny, because every book on that list I had in my bookshelf.
Wow.
Everyone. And the last one was Dark Night of the Soul, which just landed in my hands. I'm like, okay, Spirit, I got this. So I understand. So I definitely can relate. It's not what we think, we step into this calling. It's not what we kind of think in our human mind of what it is, but we're being open to what Spirit is calling us to do and to be in the world. And our fear, let me speak for me, my fear sometimes stops me because I think I'm not good enough to do this, or I don't have the tools. But I realize when it comes to you, it is for you. When that calling comes to you, and that you're being equipped to be able to step into that. And so I have to remind myself of that very often, because I will talk myself out of it quickly. So is there anyone else that would like to share? And if not, it's something to just ponder. It's like, and sometimes that's calling us will come up. It may come up in your sleep. And write it down. Just write down. I have my phone somewhere nearby, because if I don't have my tablet, I can put on my recorder and I'll record my notes, my message, so that I don't forget it. Or on my phone, there's like this little dictator thing. So I'll dictate what it is that's coming to me. And then I'll go back and try to read it, because it doesn't always dictate correctly. And it's just like, what was I saying in this moment? And it's like, I have to go back and think. But for me, it's to get it out of my head, out of my system, so to make room for more information to come through. So I am just so grateful for this opportunity to be with you all tonight, and for the support. And, I'm truly in a place that, okay, Spirit, you had me to switch to this day. So I speak on Sunday at another center in New York. And I'm just like, and I had totally forgotten about that I was speaking there. I had to look at my calendar because she sent out the notes, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm on that Sunday? Oh, okay. What am I talking about? But this whole month, this whole theme, it's, the yearly theme, the living out loud, it's truly about getting out of our comfort zone. And it's, it's like, sometimes I tell myself, it's like, yeah, being here, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's comfortable. And if that makes sense, because it's uncomfortable in a way that I know that there's something that's calling me, but it's comfortable enough because it feels safe in this moment. Although I may not like it, but it feels safe right now. Reverend Judith, you have your hand up? Reverend Judith, okay.
I mean, Dr. Judith.
Dr. Judith, I'm sorry. See, you know what? Spirit has something else in mind, okay? So, hey, I'm going with that.
It won't be the first time. Judith, you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Okay. When I was in prac class quite a while ago, and taking classes before that, at the end of every class project, for every class project, I wrote a song. And some of them I really like. Some of them I actually
think, oh, it's pretty good. And I love to sing. I'm allowing myself to be squashed by thinking about what age I am and whether I can, really get started doing it. There are some things that I have to modify because I play some guitar, but, and now I have a little bit of some arthritis in my hands. So it's just a little harder. It doesn't mean that I can't do it.
Mhm.
It just means that I have to, be with it and know that that spirit is coming with me on this journey. And I know that there are some songs left unwritten as of now.
Mm.
So I was afraid to raise my hand, and there's part of me afraid to think about it, and so I'm just gonna meditate on this for a while. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you for a whole talk. Yeah.
Thank you. So if there's nothing else, I just want to thank everyone as we're bringing this to a close. Unless there's someone else that has a burning desire, a burning call that they want to share. I can see it in your eyes. Okay, I see you all. But I'm grateful for this time that we've had together. Reverend Sunshine Michelle, when you see this, thank you for this opportunity for today. Just you all are such an amazing, community of people, and I'm grateful to step out of my comfort zone to be able to say yes to this opportunity to be with you all tonight. So thank you all. And Paul, I am going to turn this over to you.
Outstanding. Let's show our appreciation, everyone, please, for Reverend Deb, who's
Thank
not only just a speaker tonight, but she is an extension of our Oakland Center family. I really feel that, Rev Deb. You come on a Wednesday night for no reason at all except to laugh at my silly jokes or respect Reverend Sally, who deserves all the respect.
Yes.
She's a brilliant facilitator, and I'm so glad to share the space with her. It's kind of opposites attract, and she's just
Yes.
but
Thank you all.
I will tell you, I'll let a cat out of the bag. There's 3 of them in her trail, in her RV, because she does her consciousness caravan thing. 3 of them heading down to Sillamar yesterday, and they're listening to Dr. Dan on the phone. And it's Dorothy Mendez, Deborah Jackson, and Reverend Sally, and I'm thinking, oh my, what a group. Then they text us, and Deborah texts us later, and she goes, well, I hope someone shows up for Wednesday night because there's 15 of us from Oakland Center at a Sillamar. Oh, there were 13 of us here tonight, which is about the average number.
Yes.
So, Reverend Deb, even unannounced, you drew a crowd, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. We do have some important announcements. There's a lot going on at the center. So Peter has a PowerPoint for us to share. And for anyone that came for Jessica, please note, she'll be here on the 30th. Okay, this Saturday, August 12th, Oakland Center will be at the Laurel Street World Music Festival. If you want to help and have fun too, please contact Beth Van Arkel, and that's Beth, V-A, Jazz, at yahoo.com, or Linda Wyman at comcast.net. Okay, next. This Sunday, August 13th, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman inspires us to activate that natural something within as she speaks to percolating your passion with purpose. Rev Deb, I got that title out without a mistake. I gotta say it one more time. Let's see what happens. Meditation is at 10 a.m. and service is at 10:30. On Wednesday, August 16th, Sridevi Ramanathan. Now, you may know her as a co-host of our monthly diversity circle. And she's with us tonight. Welcome, Shivani. I'm so glad, Sridevi, I'm so glad you're here. She will continue the discussion on percolating your passion with purpose. Let me wipe the screen, okay? There we go. Lots of P words. Meditation is at 6:30 and service is at 7. I want to recognize you, Sridevi, and have folks take a look at you. And you know her very well, so please join us. Reverend Dr. Georgia Prescott is offering an after-service workshop on Sunday, August 20th. Just say no. Hell no, she told us to say, to aging gracefully. The cost is $20. She has requested that at least 8 people pre-register before Wednesday, August 16th, so she can prepare materials. Check out the full workshop description and register on the classes page of our website at oaklandcsl.org. The parking lot party will be here soon on Saturday, August 26th. Rain Dugan is the party lead for this event. If you'd like to help, please contact Rain at susraine@hotmail.com. If you have items to sell at the parking lot party, please complete and submit the vendor form found on the events page at oaklandcsl.org/events. Constance Chapman is offering a free class teaser after service on August 27th for her upcoming spiritual enrichment class, Mandala Meditation. This class will start Thursday, September 7th for 5 weeks. The silent auction is now open for donations. Do you have items you would like to donate? Please contact Maureen French. That's Maureen at oaklandcsl.org. And she will send you a link to upload your items. All donations must be uploaded by Friday, August 18th. The silent auction will launch on August 27th and run through September 10th. Using the online platform known as 32 Auctions. So details to that platform will be coming soon. Remember to contact Sam Lejon, Sam Ladion at oaklandcsl.org if you are interested in helping at the Oakland Pride Festival on Sunday, September 10th. Let's not forget our bookstore. It's summer reading time and all books are 30% off. Rev Deb, if you need a book, let me know. I'll go see if Linda's got it. I can save you 30% off and get it to you. Anyways, check out our bookstore. Great place to go when you're here on Sundays. So I'd just like to take a minute and look at our contact team, these beautiful faces, all so you can get a face and a name and an email number. If you're watching this on video, if you want to know about these people and what they do, it's all right there. These are wonderful, wonderful members of our community, serving us in those capacities. There's so much happening at the center. Events, workshop, classes, and more. Please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org and sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates and content you'll only find by liking and subscribing to Oakland Center. Please like us and subscribe to the Oakland Center today. Yes, Sally Field, they like us. They really, really like us. Please visit the upcoming classes and workshops page and our small groups page on our website, oaklandcsl.org, for more information. And don't forget about special events. So it's our joyous giving time right now. This is an important part of my service here to the community is recognizing that we joyously give our time, our talent, and our treasures. Takes a village to make a village, and we have a fantastic, beautiful community, village community. So if there's something that you can contribute tonight, hold it to your heart with me and read along as we affirm. Joyously, I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. So a quick and easy way to do that is, of course, go to the website on the homepage and use the donate icon. See that hand with those hearts? You click on that and it will lead you to another page. And once you're there, you'll see 5 ways to give via the donate icon. Credit card, mail, Zelle, by text, or you can join us at service on Sunday and use the offering basket. So I have some thank yous that are in order before we get ready to close our event tonight. I want to thank, first of all, Reverend Deb. First of all, y'all know she's 3 hours ahead of us. It's past her bedtime. She comes 3 hours in advance. And so Rev Deb, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Want to shout out to Reverend Sunshine and for giving us this platform. I think that's important to remember. We have this ability to have a global reach on Wednesday nights. And Reverend Sally Bartholomew, my partner in grime, I would say, hosting. I have the grime part, she has the clean part. And I'm just grateful to her for letting us share it and have a good time. Now, it takes a lot for me to look good. You all know that. And this team makes me look good. Peter up in Portland, thank you, sir, for leading a lot of this and doing the PowerPoint. Alice Herndon, thank you so much for spotlighting. Alice Knudsen for taking care of the muting business when necessary. And of course, tonight, all the administration was done, PowerPoint and information to put the script together. Peggy Cotton stepped in for Constance, who's on her own caravan going down to the asylum. It's going to be pretty quiet at the center for the next couple of days. All the folks that run the place are running down there to be at Asilomar. And I know they're going to come back refreshed and rejuvenated and bring a whole bunch of information that we'll be able to share. God bless them. And thinking of blessing, it's time for our closing prayer tonight. One of our newly installed and stoled practitioners, recently stolen, I say, that's a Paul twist on that, is Alice Knudsen with us tonight, and she's doing her first public prayer after being certified with the stole last Sunday. So Alice, can you close us in prayer?
Absolutely, my pleasure. So everyone just take a nice deep breath. In and out, this God breath, this breath of life. Blessed God, how good it is. For there is only one life, and that life is God's life, perfect, whole, and complete. And we are all one with the one. What a joy it is to know that Spirit is eternal loving, eternally loving, all powerful, all present. And we are one with that one with every breath we take. And everything in this entire universe is of Spirit. Ah, how good it is. How good and so good it is to know that we are all one. You're one in the mind of God, one in the heart of God. For there is no spot where God is not. And I know that I am with God. I am one with the one, and God is in me, and God is within everyone here tonight. And oh, what a time we have had tonight. Celebrating Spirit's goodness, celebrating being. I give thanks for all that Rev Deb has shared with us, for her spontaneity, for her joy, for her abundant love that she showered with us and invited us to delve deep into our souls and look at our calling and look at what we are inspired to do and what our purpose is. I give thanks for everything that has gone on tonight, that has transpired, and for each and every person that is here. who has participated, who has made the time to share their love with us all tonight. There is so much to be thankful for. And so I bless us all as we leave this gorgeous, beautiful time together and venture back into our homes filled with spirit. And please join me in saying, and so it is.
And
And
so it is.
it is. Amen.
Amen.
Ashe. Bless